USA. We are now joined by U.S. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas in Washington, D.C. Senator, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Well, good evening. Good to be with you.
The Associated Press called your race. None of us here in the studio is surprised that you won your primary. Why do you think you won so easily?
Well, I'm certainly gratified to have the support of Republicans to see a big win in the primary. It's been an incredible privilege and honor for the last 5 years to represent 28 million Texans in the Senate. And from day one, what I've endeavored to do is follow through on my promises. Fight for Texans, fight for jobs. My number one priority is jobs, 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 because that's what Texans care about. You know, you look last year, we saw a tremendous victory with tax cuts, major tax cuts that's spurring economic growth all across the country. We're seeing regulatory reform. Job creators are investing money. And I think Texans also want a senator who will defend the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And that's something I've endeavored to do each and every day in the Senate.
As you may know, the AP has also called the Democratic primary for Beto O'Rourke, who has 63%. Yeah. He has raised a lot of money. He certainly has surprised a lot of people. He's really outdone what most people thought he would do as far as money, and he's generating a lot of crowds. How concerned are you that this is going to get the attention of the Democratic Party nationally, and this race could become nationalized?
Well, listen, there's no doubt that Congressman O'Rourke, his base is the national media. And we've seen breathless and fawning profiles of him. You know, I think it's interesting, those primary results you just reported. He had a serious contested primary against opponents with no money and no name ID, and yet they won almost half of the vote in the Democratic primary. And that may be because, you know, look, I think Texans understand we're a conservative state. And this election now, a race between me and Congressman O'Rourke, presents a clear and stark choice for Texans between a liberal left-wing congressman and a strong conservative. And on issue after issue, the differences couldn't be more stark. He is for amnesty and open borders. I'm for securing the border, passing Kate's Law, and stopping illegal immigration. He is for gun control and undermining the rights of law-abiding Texans to own firearms. I am a strong and passionate defender of the Second Amendment. He is for Obamacare and high taxes and high regulations and all of the economic malaise of the Obama years. And what I fought every day to do is lower taxes, lower regulations, and unleash jobs. I think that presents a clear and a stark choice for Texans, and I think Texans want a conservative in the Senate.
But how do you explain the fact that he has been able to raise a lot of money here in Texas? He's not taking PAC money. So how do you explain that? And that is something that you're going to have to deal with.
Undoubtedly. And Jack, the phenomenon we're seeing is the extreme left right now. They're energized. They're angry. We're seeing it in fundraising, as you noted. We're seeing it in turnout. They hate the president. And they are mobilizing in a powerful way. So, yes, Congressman O'Rourke is raising a ton of money from liberals in Texas and nationally. But at the end of the day, the good news is there are a lot more conservatives in Texas than there are liberals. And so if conservatives show up in November, we'll be just fine. Texas will stay a bright red state. Now my job, the job of Republicans, is to turn conservatives out. And I think we've got a powerful record to run on of what we've been able to do with a Republican president, with Republican majorities in both houses, passing an enormous tax cut that is spurring jobs and economic growth, honoring our commitment. The big four priorities from last year were tax reform, regulatory reform, Obamacare, and judges. And I think we've managed to deliver real and meaningful results on all four. That's the direction I think and believe Texans want to go.
And I was just going to ask you, because you brought up the point, how do you make sure that Republicans are energized come the fall here in Texas?
Well, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort. I can tell you, you know well, you remember the race when I was first elected to the Senate in 2012, where all of the Texas political establishment was opposed to us. All the big money donors were opposed to us. And we ran a grassroots campaign that was fueled by the energy of the grassroots, was fueled by thousands upon thousands of young people and Hispanics and women and small business owners. That really has been the heart of our political base, of our support. That's the heart of the men and women to whom I'm accountable. And what we need to do in November is turn those conservatives out, reach out to them, energize them, give them reasons to vote. And there are a whole lot of reasons to vote, not least of which is if Texas elects a far-left liberal like Congressman O'Rourke, we will see the economic growth of the past 2 years screech to a halt as Congress returns to Obama-level pressure from Congress to have high taxes, high regulation, to crush job creation. And you want to talk about a stark contrast. You know, about a week ago, Congressman O'Rourke tweeted out proudly how proud he was that he has an F rating from the NRA. Not a D minus, not a D, an F. He's proud to not support the Second Amendment in any way, shape, or form. Well, you know what? This is Texas. This is not New York City. In Texas, we believe in our constitutional rights, and I think Congressman O'Rourke's views are just simply not representative of the views of the vast majority of Texans.
My last question, and I know your time is short, and I appreciate it very much, and that is, what do you think your key accomplishments have been in office?
Well, I think every day in the Senate, I have honored my promise to fight for freedom and the Constitution. That's what I promised Texas voters back in 2012. I said, listen, I still remember in East Texas, a little old lady grabbed me by the shoulders and said, Ted, please don't go to Washington and become one of them. Fight for us, remember us. And I hear all over the state, Jack, I hear from people, both left and right. I hear from people on the left who'll say, you know what, I'm a Democrat. I didn't vote for you the first time around, but I'll say this, you're doing what you said you would do. And in the past 2 years, in 2017 and 2018 in particular, with a Republican president and with Republican majorities, I've been proud to help lead the effort to bring Republicans together to deliver on our promises, whether it was bringing everyone together to deliver on historic tax cuts, producing jobs, doubling the child tax credit, whether it was repealing the Obamacare individual mandate, which I led the effort on and we got done, or confirming Neil Gorsuch and constitutionalist judges to the Supreme Court. We are delivering on our promises, and Texas is benefiting. We're seeing more jobs, higher wages, more opportunity, and I think that's what Texas wants to see in their elected representatives.
Thank you so much for your time, Senator Cruz. We definitely appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you out on the trail along with Congressman O'Rourke. Thank you again, sir.